Welcome back to another fishing adventure. I'm here with Henry. We are on a multi-day fishing trip at a lake house that we've rented, and lots of stuff going on. But first thing we need to do is we need to catch some bait. We're doing some multi-species fishing here on this trip. Got a minnow trap here. We're going to get this thrown out. Hopefully catch some minnows pretty soon. Let me show you how we're going to do that. Yeah, we've got this house on the lake. There's the lake, and we're a long ways away from home. We drove about 5 hours north, and we're going to be here for about 3 days. As you can see, we've got just a little lot size bit of lakeshore here, and we've got a broken dock and some boulders. So yeah, we're going to be fishing for catfish and carp as usual, but also a freshwater drum, and there's lots of pike in this lake too. Yeah, Henry already tried some fishing for pike right when we got here, and it's too weedy out there. Lots and lots of weeds. Nothing. Fishing with a crankbait just doesn't work here. We might try for pike somewhere else. This is just an old wire minnow trap here, and we're just gonna load it up with some cheap white bread. I'm just gonna break it up into little bits and drop some in each side here. This will kind of just soften up and dissolve up as it goes into the water. And the key is to put some of this bread like right at the little entrance to the minnow trap right there. Squeeze some on right there. That'll help them find their way into the trap. This is an old minnow trap. This was my grandpa's minnow trap, I think. So those two ends go together, and then the clip holds the middle together. There we go. Bunch of bread. Let's throw it out by the dock. I think by the dock would probably be best. There's probably going to be some fish hanging out underneath the dock. And I'm just going to drop it in. This is probably like 2 feet of water right here, right next to the dock. And we'll come back in an hour or two and check on that. So yeah, I'll just do the little house tour real quick here, because I'm sure some of you are curious. Got this nice big 3-car garage here where I can get all my fishing stuff. Just it can live out here and doesn't have to be in the house. That's nice. There's a kayak over there which I may or may not use depending. The weather this week looks atrocious, so I don't know. Probably not going to use the kayak. We'll see. Just run through the house real quick. It's a pretty decent little house, 2 or 3 bedrooms. You know, just usual stuff, nothing special. It's kind of an older house, but you know, kitchen, bedrooms, bathrooms, you know, all the usual stuff in a house, you know. The real exciting part is this out here. The lake is just about 25-30 yards out the back door. Nice little deck off the back, grill. I don't know if we're going to do too much hanging out here. It's a lake house, so everything's got cobwebs and it's really buggy here, you know. But yeah, out there, that's where I just put that minnow trap, and I'm going to go ahead and get my carp rods set up. We'll go get those. Well, I just realized that I made a catastrophic mistake. I didn't grab any hook baits. I got tons and tons of pack bait supplies. I left all my tiger nuts and boiled feed corn in the refrigerator at home. Yeah, this is a bunch of pack bait stuff. I think I brought some. I thought I brought something that I could use for hook baits. Oh man. I've got cork. I've got pieces of cork that I could cut down into you know, little shapes like this, like kernels of corn shapes. Might do that. The other option is corn. I've got a bunch of cans of corn. I could surely use corn on the hook bait. It's a terrible hook bait though. Terrible. I don't really want to use canned corn. I'm not too crazy about the idea of using cork because I don't want floating baits. I think what I might do is take some of these little soft plastics that I have and just cut these up into little chunks. I think that's what I'm going to do. I do have some other soft plastics for pike that I brought. Yeah, any of these would work good. I could cut up little chunks of plastic and use that for my hook bait. Kind of like that. These have like some kind of a power bait slime stuff on them, which I don't really like very much. These are dry. Yeah, I can cut that up, make hook baits. Can you tell I'm a little bit irritated with myself? Just gonna make the best of it, do what I can with what I got. Do this yellow one, and just gonna cut this up into a few little pieces that might kind of look like corn kernels. They look like corn kernels. Will work just fine. This one will be some slightly larger pieces. Something like that. Little white pieces about the size of a tiger nut. I think that'll work. I mean, I guess there's a few things in here that would work. Food that we brought. Got grapes. I don't know, I think those would get picked off. I also have cherry tomatoes. Also not very durable. Chickpeas would be an excellent hook bait, except these are like fully cooked. They're pretty soft. They get pulled off the hair easy. And I guess I could cut up chunks of apple. That would be good, but I want to eat those apples. Chunks of cheese would be good too, but again, we brought this to eat. Yeah, let's. My wife mentioned, hey, how about that bread that you brought? I don't know. I'm gonna give it a try. I don't think so. Let me roll up a bread in a ball and see what it looks like. I've never tried to make a hook bait out of bread. Let's see if I can compact it into a tight ball, and I don't know. I think it would just dissolve in the water, and I don't know. That's as tight as I can get it. That looks nice, but I mean, it's just soft. That's just not, once it gets in the water, some bluegill's gonna peck at it twice and it's gonna be gone. Well, for the pack bait, I'm gonna want a strong scent because those hook baits aren't gonna have any scent. So I'm gonna go with pineapple. That's really sweet, strong scent. And to add even more sweetness and scent, apple juice. There's the hook baits, little pieces of plastic. I think it's gonna work. The sun decided to come out a little bit in between the clouds. That's good. And just special for this trip. Oh man, Tom's gone crazy. That's right. I bought some bite alarms to use for this trip specifically, so I can fish here, and then I can be hanging out right there at the house, either on the deck or in the house. I'm not gonna go into much detail about these. These are just pretty basic bite alarms here. Key thing that they have is this remote, and it's got vibrate only feature. That was the major selling point for me. So here's what it's gonna be for now, at least for tonight. It's a little after 6 p.m. It's evening, so I was hoping to just get a little bit of an evening session in. I don't think I'm gonna fish during the night because it's supposed to have severe thunderstorms with 70-mile-an-hour winds, and I'm not going to leave my equipment out during the night for that. But yeah, little pieces of plastic is what I'm going to use for the hook bait to start with. We realized that we also forgot a couple of grocery items, so I think we'll probably end up making a trip to the grocery store tomorrow sometime. Maybe I'll find something there I can use for a hook bait instead, but this is going to be it for now. There's a lot of unknowns about this lake. I've been here before, but it was about a decade ago, and that was before I had any interest in carp fishing, and I caught mostly pike when I was here then. Oh, I just saw a carp jump over there. Boom. Okay, so there is a mapping of this lake, and I'm putting it where I'm putting these baits, probably 30-40 yards out. It's probably in about 5 feet of water. Yeah, here's the other one with the little yellow pieces of plastic. The wind is blowing into this shoreline probably 10 to 15 miles an hour is what it feels like. And like I said, there's weeds out there. close to the shore. As far as we could cast with that crankbait, we were just coming back with weeds. I don't know how far the weeds go out, so that's going to play a factor. Definitely in bringing in fish. I don't know. There's a lot I don't know here. Yeah, that felt like 5-6 feet. I don't know if I'm getting out past the weed band or not. Yeah, baits are in. Let's get a water temp real quick here. It feels like low 70s. Yeah, about 73, so that's good. This time of year, plus the water temp, those two factors, spawn should be done. This is middle of June. It's June 17th today. Yeah, this is not a highly developed lake. There's some lake houses, but not a ton, and so boat traffic shouldn't be a huge issue for me here. Shouldn't. So yeah, it's about 6:45 p.m. and it's about dinner time, and that's exactly why I bought those bite alarms, so I can have baits in the water. I can see them out the back window of the house, and yeah, I'm gonna go make some dinner. Let me show you what we're having for dinner tonight. Tonight's dinner is going to be Pacific flounder fillets. They're going to go on a pan with parchment paper. And the oven is going to go on like 425. Make sure there's nothing in the oven, I guess. And those scissors look disgusting. Not going to use those to open my fish. I'll use this. And these fillets are nice and thin, so there's no need to defrost them. I'm just going to put them on the pan, frozen like that. I'll just cook them directly from frozen. And normally I brush oil on them at home, but I don't have my brush, so I'm just going to sprinkle some oil and just kind of rub it with my fingers here. Just a little bit of oil. Don't need oil on the bottom because the parchment is non-stick. And then just a little bit of this Body of Complete seasoning. It's just an all-purpose seasoning. Got lots of garlic and herbs in it and stuff. It's good on just about everything. Just a little sprinkle. Doesn't take much. Flounders are pretty mild tasting fish. Doesn't need much seasoning. In the oven they go. No need to wait for the preheat. Next, broccoli. And I just had an idea. I think some of these broccoli stems I could cut into chunks and use for hook baits. I think I might do that. Broccoli stems would work good. Hard enough, but it's a nice vegetable. I think that would work good. Before I do the broccoli, I'm gonna get some quinoa going because that takes a little bit. That takes about 20 minutes. Quinoa is a seed. It's kind of a lot like rice. It's got a very nutty flavor. We eat it in place of rice a lot of the time. I don't have a measuring cup, so I'm just going to use this coffee cup. I don't really need measurements. I just know it's a 1.5 to 1 ratio. So 1.5 cups of water to 1 cup of quinoa. 1.5. Lid goes on. Heat goes on high until it starts to bubble. So yeah, the broccoli, I'm just gonna cut the base, the thickest part of the stems off, and I'll eat the rest. That's gonna make some hook baits, I think. And I'm just leaving this as whole as I can, right in the pan there. I'm gonna keep it up off the bottom if I can. Yeah, that'll work great. Just like to have the florets up off the bottom. You'll see here in a second. I'm gonna put just like a ½ inch of water in the bottom of the pot. Put the lid on and turn the burner on, and those are just going to steam like that. Alright, quinoa is just starting to bubble, so I'm going to turn the heat all the way down to low. Give it a little stir. And then the lid goes on, and it's just going to sit there and steam for 20 minutes until it's ready, just like rice. Nothing happening out on the fishing rods. Bite alarms are working good. I tested them. Hasn't started raining yet. I'm keeping an eye on the radar. Alright, broccoli is done. Quinoa is done. Fish is done. That's not the bite alarm, that's the smoke alarm. Well, it's a little after 8 p.m. Got about an hour left of daylight. Here's what the new hook baits are. These are just little chunks of the broccoli stalks. I think that'll work good. Haven't had any bite indication on these. I can see there's lots of weeds on my lines. This one's getting pulled down a lot. Yeah, this is I'm not even able to reel this in yet because too many weeds get stopped up on the tip of the rod here. This is not good. If I did hook a fish in this stuff, I don't know if I would be able to get it in. I can't even get my line in. Yeah, this is a big problem. I can't even, so far I've been working at this for a few minutes. I just haven't been able to get my first line in because all this duckweed or whatever this stuff is comes up and clogs up the tip of the rod. I'm dragging in a huge bunch of weeds, a big weight on the end of my line. All right, finally got my line in. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna work here. This might be a case where I might as well just left my fishing rods at home too, because this is not gonna work. Not gonna work. This is extremely disappointing. I just spent 10 minutes trying to get that first line in and get it all the weeds off. I can't get my second one in now. This is hugely disappointing. I think this whole area here, right off this lakefront property, is choked with weeds and is not fishable. There's line number 2. This is like really fine thread weed. Impossible to get through. Here's a little bit of this thicker stuff. I think they refer to this as cabbage in the north. A little bit of that. This stuff's okay. This stuff's okay to get through and get out of. This thin this like thread-like stuff, impossible to fish this stuff. Unfortunately, what I've got here is a lakefront property where the lakefront is unfishable, and I'm pretty disappointed, to say the least. That's an understatement. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. It all just builds up right at the tip of the rod. Can't even reel it in any farther. I still got all my line out there. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this for about 10 minutes to get this line in. I'm not casting those other two back out. I'm not casting back out here. This is pointless trying to fish here. "20 minutes later, I finally get my lines in. Well, it was pretty windy out there. I don't know if you heard everything I was saying when I was reeling my lines, but the weed situation here fishing is impossible. Fishing is impossible here. I'm not going to continue casting out and reeling in giant clumps of weeds. The way I planned this trip, what I had in my mind is that I wanted to time it just so that it would be after the spawn is done, but before the weeds came in thick. And I thought middle of June would be that time. And I think I was right on the spawn timing, but I was very, very wrong about the weed timing. I do know the place where we stayed here on this lake about 10 years ago, the weeds were not a problem there. And that was probably in July when we stayed there. It was either June or July, but there were no issues with weeds. Now it was a different spot on the lake. It was a couple miles from here. And you know, things can change. It's been, like I said, a number of years. Lakes can change, weed growth patterns can change. But basically what I've got here is 3 days and 4 nights at a lake house where I can't fish. And I think my only option, well, not my only option, but my next best option, I guess, if I want to do some fishing, is to just go to any of the publicly available spots on this lake, just like I would anywhere else if I'm fishing around my home. It's either that or just turn around and go home. I don't think I want to do that. I think that there's definitely some opportunities here at this lake. I got $1,200 dropped down on accommodations to stay here for 4 nights and 3 days. So there's that. But as you can see, I'm sitting here next to all my fishing gear. I brought it all in. I'm not going to try to do any more fishing here tonight. I'm going to spend the rest of the night looking at maps. I've already got some places pinned because I always have plan B, always. But now it's time to come up with plan B, C, D, E, F, and G. And that's what I'm doing tonight. See how it goes tomorrow. Well, heavy rain last night. I didn't sleep much last night because it was storming all night. Water's a lot calmer now. Hopefully the minnow trap is still here. There's nothing in the minnow trap. Not a thing. Bunch of bread. And that's it. Okay. And here's what the neighbor guy's doing. He knows about the weeds. He's got a rake attached to a rope, and he's out there throwing it off of his dock and clearing some weeds, dragging big clumps of weeds back. I assume he's just clearing just a little spot so he can maybe catch a few bluegills or crappies or something right next to his dock there. Probably the only way to do it here, as thick as these weeds are along this shoreline. So the best I can tell, there are 3 public access places on this lake. This is the first one. This looks like someplace I can fish, but the weed situation, I'm not very far from the house. Probably only a mile down the lake shore from the house. And this is just a public access spot with a boat ramp next to it. I see weeds right here next to the shoreline. I don't see clumps farther out. That is different than what is at the house. I don't know if you can see it here, but there are big clumps of that same grassy, thready, weedy stuff. And it goes, as far as I can see, it goes about 20 feet out, but then it stops about right here. But then beyond there I can't see any weeds. That doesn't mean that they aren't there. They just might be submerged completely. Let's go over to the boat ramp, see what that looks like. Boat ramp's probably about 30-40 yards down from that little spot. I'm not gonna fish here. I'm not gonna be that guy fishing at the boat ramp. But there is a dock here. You can potentially walk out and maybe get a better look at the weed situation. No swimming at the boat launch site, that makes sense. Well, standing out here on the end of the dock here, I can see, right here at the end of the dock, there are some pieces of weed that are extending all the way to the surface. Not that much though. I can see some out there. I can see some weed laying on the surface out there. I'm not gonna fish here right now. This is the first spot I'm checking out this morning. It's actually, it's late morning. It's about noon almost, but I'm gonna be going that way. There's 2 spots down this way, and I'm gonna stop at the grocery store and get some hook baits too. This is a very rural area. Like I said, not a highly developed lake. There's a tiny little town down at the end of the lake. It has a little small town grocery. That's where I'm gonna go. And I was getting ready to drive off, and it just occurred to me, like, why am I playing this guessing game with the weeds here? I'm just gonna get my spot rod out. I'm gonna cast a sinker out and find out what's what with this place here, so I can either utilize it or move on. All I'm gonna do is attach a little 2-ounce bank sinker down on the end of my spot rod. I'm just gonna cast this out and pull it back and see what happens. If this is weed free, this would be a nice spot because it's only like a mile from the house, and it's I don't know, it's a pretty nice spot. So we'll see. I'll let it sink to the bottom. Well, that's encouraging. I got no weeds so far. No weeds so far. Boom. I hit weeds right close to the bank here. So it appears that the weed line only goes out maybe 20-25 feet off the bank here. That's drastically different. Okay, it's on the bottom. I'm dragging it on the bottom. It's bouncing on the bottom. Bouncing on the bottom. Now I got some weeds. So there I'm about, yeah, now I got weeds. Probably 20 yards out I hit weeds on that cast. Yeah. I'll cast way off to the left, see what it's like over there. Pretty shallow. It hit the bottom only a few seconds after it hit the surface, so it's probably only 3 or 4 feet deep right there. Boom, right there, hit weeds. It's about 20 yards out. Okay. This is still pretty weedy, but it's better than where it's at right off the house. Now this is not like a busy boat ramp or anything. It's just a gravel little boat ramp off the side of the road. There was nobody here when I drove by it yesterday, and there's nobody here today also. I don't think it gets used very much. Oh yeah, so the weed line there, I just hit the weeds. The weed line starts about 15, or stops about 15 or 20 yards out. I think I could fish this spot. Boom. There's the real thick stuff. Real close. Maybe I should go ask that neighbor guy if I can borrow his rake and just clear this out in front here. I'm gonna call this spot fishable. Yeah. It gets pretty thick real close to the shoreline, but I don't know. It's better than at the house. So, okay, making a little bit of progress here. I'm still going to explore those other spots first. And this is be on the way back to the house. So, yeah, okay. Well, here's spot number 2. This is just a public access area right at one of the inlets of the lake. There's a road right there with that's the where the inlet comes in, water comes in, and the lake is out this way. Swampy, marshy area, lots of reeds. The main lake is quite a ways out, farther away. There's a bunch of pelicans out there. This looks really, really shallow, pretty green. This is probably a spawning ground for carp. I bet they go up through there, there's a marshy area on the other side of the road too. I don't like this very much. I can see in a few places over here, I can see pieces of branches sticking up out of the water, which tells me that it's real shallow, maybe a foot deep, is my guess. Just pieces of branches, little tips sticking up out of the water. I think I'm gonna say no to this spot. Next stop is the grocery store. All right, grocery store. Here's what I got. I got a can of white hominy. I've never actually fished with white hominy. I've heard that it's a little bit larger and tougher than sweet corn. Thought, why not? Got white hominy. And the other thing I got was a sweet potato. I think this would work good. I can cut this up into little bits and use it on the hair rig. Should work good. I was gonna get a regular potato, but I saw this and thought, I like the orange sweet potatoes better. And the third thing that I got was some tortillas, and these are for us to eat because we're having tacos tonight. Yeah, it's pretty undeveloped here. The lake is off to my left of the road here, and I don't know, about every, half mile or so there'll be a house or a private property. Most of it's just farmland all the way down to the lake. This next area is the least desirable one in my list here. This is a county park with a campground and a playground. Nice shoreline though. I don't know what the weed situation is like. Really nice shoreline for bank fishing. But yeah, campground is not something that I enjoy. It's basically like a hotel without walls. Although it doesn't appear that anybody's actually here right now. These campers are just parked here and there's no vehicles. But of course they want to camp right by the water. Who wouldn't, right? But this is a fantastic bank fishing spot. Nice flat grassy area. Yeah, it's definitely a park-like setting here. All mowed all the way to the rocky edge here. There's my house where I was, directly across on the other side. This is directly across from where my lake house is. I don't mind a bit of a boulder scramble. The weed situation looks the same here, just from this shoreline. I guess I should go get my my spot rod and do a little casting maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this campground's a pretty big turn off for me. And I didn't drive 5 hours up here to this lake to fish public spots. The whole point was to have a private spot, where I wouldn't have to deal with the things that you have to deal with public spots, And it's a cloudy, cool day right now. It's spitting rain. That's why there's nobody here, using this area. I don't think I'm gonna spend any time here. This is just that I'm gonna go back to that first spot where I casted the sinkers, and I'm just gonna start fishing there, I think. Yeah, that first spot, like I said, that's only like a mile away from the house. I'm about a half an hour drive away from the house here. Like I said, it's directly across the lake, but I had to drive all the way down and around, I'm going back. Taking my hominy and my sweet potato and Going back to that first spot. It's a nice campground though. Okay, back at the first spot here. I got my stuff laid out and I still got to get baited up and cast it out. There have been some exciting developments back at the house. Let me tell you about it while I get baited up here. First of all, here are my sweet potatoes. I just cubed them up and added a little bit of salt to them just to toughen them up a little bit. They're just kind of releasing some water, toughening it up. Diced sweet potato is going to be the hook bait. And I went back to the house to chop up the sweet potato and also do a couple other things. And while I was there was a guy in a boat trolling back and forth in front of our lakefront property and the neighboring ones. Really slow, but yet his outboard motor was really working hard, going, but he was barely moving. And it took me about 30 seconds to just kind of put it together and realize that it looked like what he was doing is dragging something. And I thought, he's clearing weeds, isn't he? And so I walked out there and waved at him, and he was kind enough to turn his motor off when I waved at him. And I asked him if he was clearing weeds, and he said, "I'm trying to." And I said, "That is awesome." Gave him a big thumbs up, and yeah, he was still doing that when I left. I don't know how long he's going to do that. I didn't want to try and rush him or anything. So that's exciting. I think it might have been the neighbor guy who I had shown you earlier was raking weeds away from his dock. I'm not sure. I think it might have been the same guy. But I'm going to fish this spot here for a few hours this afternoon. It's about, I think it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. So I'm going to fish here for, I don't know, 3 hours or something like that. We'll see. And then when I get back to the house, I guess I'll go ahead and do some casting out there and see what kind of weed clearance I've got. It's pretty exciting indeed. This is the same pack bait from yesterday, this pineapple stuff. I just had to add a little bit of water to make it sticky again. I know some of you are probably thinking, "Tom, you need to get yourself a boat. That'll solve this bank fishing problem, finding bank fishing spots." And you're not wrong. A boat would solve this particular problem that I'm having here, but I actually used to have a boat, and I don't anymore. Got rid of it because although getting a boat does solve some problems, you're trading those problems for a whole different set of problems, or different set of challenges, I should say. Not necessarily problems, but challenges. In owning and operating and maintaining a boat, there's a lot involved in that, and I didn't like any of it. I don't like maintaining a boat. I don't like hauling a boat. I don't like launching a boat, landing a boat, towing a boat, changing oil in the lower unit. I don't like doing any of that stuff. And frankly, bobbing around on a boat is not near as enjoyable as sitting on the bank either, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. So I sold my boat because I like bank fishing better. I like the challenge of going out and finding different bank fishing spots. I just like it better. It's just personal preference. I don't really mind fishing on a boat that much. I mean, if somebody wants to invite me on their boat, I'll go. No big deal. I just don't like being the boat captain and the boat owner. I even have a very nice fishing kayak that I've had for several years, and it doesn't get used very much either. I just enjoy bank fishing more. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you've probably seen me have some, struggles and challenges as a bank fisherman dealing with guys on boats. But the reality is, those guys are out there doing that same stuff to other guys in boats too. Getting a boat does not absolve you of that inconsiderate boater guy problem. They're just out there doing it to other guys in boats too. Yeah, it's a little bit deeper here than by the house too. It seemed like it was about 5 or 6 feet. I know there are some areas, some parts of the country where it's just a boat is required if you want to fish. There are no bank fishing opportunities. I get it. Yeah, some areas are like that. I guess I'm lucky to be able to have access to places where I can bank fish. Well, I just heard some thunder, and it has been just misting for a while. I don't know, I guess I better check the radar. There were some guys that just launched their boat right here at the boat ramp while I was getting ready. I don't know if they're aware of the weather or not. They're heading out in a boat when there's thunder being heard in the distance. I don't know. I better check. Well, it's been an hour and I'm gonna rebait, but this was nice. I reeled in, I was able to reel it right in. This is all I got, and this just happened just in the last 20 feet. It was weed free for most of the way, so I'm pretty confident I'm fishing in some weed free spots here. I have actually seen a couple of fish surface out there, a little farther out than where I had these baits, but feeling all right about this spot. It's been raining on and off. I put the big camera away because of that, and you know, I'm confident in this sweet potato chunks for bait. I've never fished with it before, but I'm sure that they'll eat it right up. You know, feel free to comment below if you have personally used sweet potato or potato successfully. I'm sure that somebody watching this has. Yeah, see, I'm reeling these in most of the way without pulling any weeds. This is nice. Yeah, I got this all the way in, and that's all I got. I sat here and waited after I cast it. I waited for an hour, not knowing what was going on, but I was just kind of afraid to reel them in because I just didn't want to see more forest of weeds, because I didn't really know what I was going to do after that if that was the case. So yeah, later on I'll go back and check out the shoreline by the house and see if that guy clearing weeds made a difference or not. But worst case scenario, I guess, if it's still unfishable there at the house, I've got this spot. I can spend the day here tomorrow, I guess. I mean, I haven't even talked about the weather and how that impacts the fishing. I was just focused on trying to find a spot to fish to start with, but the weather is a whole nother deal. I mean, like I told you, heavy rain last night, cold front moved in last night. It's 20 degrees cooler today than it was yesterday. Post cold front fishing is usually terrible. If I was at home right now, I wouldn't bother going out fishing right after a heavy cold front like this. But so there's that factor as well. There's a huge fish in the water right here, 10 feet off the bank. Huge carp right there. Right off the bank. There he goes. He's just slowly cruising around. He's been in these weeds right here, right next to the bank for a while. I'll scare him out there. Go find my baits. Well, it's about 5 minutes to 5, and I was planning on leaving at 5 to just go home for dinner. But I've got this pack bait left, and I got my spot rod here because I was casting out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spot out the rest of this pack bait here. I think it's pretty likely I'm gonna be coming back here tomorrow, so that's why I'm gonna do that here. I'm gonna get this stuff spotted up, get my lines reeled in, go home and make some tacos, and maybe I'll go out after dinner and check on the weed situation at the house, see if there's any improvement. Well, we got some tacos done. We had a downpour, thunderstorm while we were eating dinner. Thought best way to test out, see what the weed situation's like, is throw out one of these crankbaits, see how many weeds they catch. My wife said that after I left, that guy drove back and forth with his boat a long time, and he had some giant clump of weeds that he was messing with, and I don't know, I see a lot of weeds right here real close to the shoreline, but maybe he cleared farther out. Yeah, I don't know, I see lots of weeds off the shoreline. If I just cast off the rocks there, there's a ton of weeds. I'm cast off the end of the dock here, I guess. Well, I'm snagging weeds, I think. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I don't know what that guy was doing But he did not make a meaningful difference in the weeds here. It almost seems like there's more. I don't know, maybe it's just because the water's more calm and I can see him easier, but it almost seems like there's more here. Yeah, this is no good. This is no good. Nothing has changed here. I don't know what that guy was doing. Well, I don't know what he was dragging behind his boat. My guess is he spent a bunch of time and didn't really do anything. Well, good morning. It's about 6:30 a.m. It's a nice morning. It's pretty calm. I don't think it rained at all during the night. I'm back here at this public access spot. And there have been some changes in the plan. I'll let you know about it while I get baited up here. So at this point, this fishing trip, really all I want out of it, all I'm hoping for anyway, is just one fish. That's what my hopes have been reduced to. I was thinking about it last night, and I decided that that one fish should definitely be a PB. It should definitely be a big PB fish. Personal best common carp for me is 24 pounds. So yeah, 25 pounder will do it. But you know, if it's a 30, I won't complain. I did see a large fin poke up out of the water, just maybe 15 yards off the bank here while I was getting ready. This is new pack bait that I made this morning before I left. Cream corn and vanilla, oats and sweet feed. So yeah, this is Wednesday morning, and we decided last night that we're going to leave early. We were scheduled to leave on Friday morning, but it's Wednesday morning, and we're gonna drive home this afternoon. The main reason is just the unusability of the lake by the house. That was really the whole point of coming here and renting that place, was to have a private lake shore. But with it being unusable for both fishing and swimming, we're really not enjoying ourselves here. We didn't drive 5 hours and pay $1,200 to rent this place so that I could go fish public access spots like I do back home. I mean, that's just yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And there are a few other things apart from the actual condition of the lake by the house. There's some things with the house itself that we don't like very much too, and just not enjoying ourselves. The whole point of this trip is supposed to be an enjoyable experience, and so we're not gonna fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy and force ourselves to stay the whole time because we paid for it. We're not enjoying ourselves, so we're gonna head home today. So yeah, that's the deal. I'm gonna spend a few hours this morning fishing, and then at noon, around noon, I guess, I'm gonna pack up, and we're gonna call it for this trip, unfortunately. So I was gonna get these baits out and catch a PB real quick, and then we'll head back for home today. There's a guy launching a boat here at the ramp just down from me here, so I'm not going to cast these lines out very far right now. Hopefully when he launches he goes, I don't know, either straight out or around, or I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't drive across my lines right after he takes off from the ramp. That's what you get for fishing near a boat ramp, right? That's the whole reason for coming here, is to not deal with that stuff in my own private lake shore. But and no, I'm not fishing at the boat ramp. I think I showed you yesterday, maybe. This little area here, this little clearing, is probably about 25-30 yards down the shore from the boat ramp, so I can't stand it when people are blocking the boat ramp fishing. I'm not doing that. I'm not that guy. That took 2 minutes. Tighten, tighten. I just sat down. It took 2 minutes. That's right where I threw all that pack bait yesterday. This fish is heading off to the right. Swam across another line. This fish is heading down that way along the shore. That's where the boat ramp is down there. But this fish is, I think this fish is in the weeds right here. It's made it into the weeds. The weeds are pretty thick. There goes the boat guy. He's not driving across my lines. He's out plenty far. I'm definitely in the weeds here. Fish is still on, and I've got a bunch of weeds with him now. Slowly but surely, I'm just slowly pulling through. I mean, there's a bunch of weeds real close to the shore here, and so that's where I've gotten stopped up at here. The fish is 10 yards off the bank here. I haven't caught a glimpse of the fish. I did see like the yellow lips for just a fleeting moment. I'm just, oh yeah, it's a good fish. It's a real good fish. It's a real good fish. I'm about ready to walk out there. I think I'm gonna walk out there. I need to put my phone and my car key on the bank. Alright, I'm just gonna walk out there. It's only about a foot deep right here. Burr. It's chilly. It's a big fish. I don't know if I should go after the weeds. I'm hesitant to even mess with the weeds. Alright. I'd like to get the fish in the net and then deal with the weeds. Right now the fish is not in the weeds, it's right out a little bit farther. Yes! Fish is in the net. Alright, this is what I was towing in along with the fish. Get this out of the equation here. This is a big fish. This is not a new PB, but it is indeed a big fish, and I'm very happy to have him. And there's those sweet potato chunks right there. Yeah, right around 20, almost 21 in the net. Yeah, almost 21 in the net, so I'm gonna call this probably a 19 and a half or something pound fish. It's a big fish. It was a long fight. I've cut out most of it, I'm sure. Just dealing with it wasn't long until the last like 10 yards or so with all the weeds. But I'm thrilled that I finally got a fish. I thought I was gonna go this whole trip is just gonna be a one big skunk. This made my day. This made my week. Thank you to this fish. It's early. It's only like 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna fish for a few more hours. And you know, I was talking about the PB earlier, and I'm not ruling that out yet. But like I said before, I just wanted one big fish, and here he is. My feet are already wet, so I might as well just get in and release this beast. Thank you. You made my week. See you later. Yeah, I was just gonna sit down for a minute, take a breather, compose my thoughts. Zzz. Didn't even have the net ready yet. Nice. Now I did bump into these two lines, both of them, while I was fighting that fish and disturbed them. So first thing I'm gonna do is reel these in and rebait and put them back out, because I still need to catch that PB this morning, I think. I have no idea what the average size carp is for this lake. Throughout my time here these last couple days, I've seen quite a few fish surfacing, and they were all good sized fish, no super, dinks or anything. So, but I don't know what the average size is. For all I know, that 20-pound fish, maybe just average for this lake. I don't really know. By the way, this lake is much larger than it appears here from this perspective. That other shoreline over there directly across from me, that's an island in the lake. There's much more lake on the other side of that island. I feel lucky to have got that fish before that boat drove across here, because I think the combination of me splashing around here catching a fish and then that boat driving across right here probably may have spooked any other fish that were feeding in the area. But it's been a good half an hour since that boat launched, and I think they'll come back if there were some fish here. Well, I just realized now that my son isn't with me. Back at the house, my son was with me, so one of the rods counted for him because he's under 18. He doesn't need a license, but with my license, I'm only allowed 2 rods. I kind of forgot about that. I came here and set up 3 rods. I just realized that I'm only allowed 2 here if I'm out here by myself. So I put one of them away. Oh yes. Fish on, fish off. There was a tug, and then I saw a surface. Oh wait. No, fish still on. Fish still on. Fish still on. This fish just must have made a beeline straight for me, straight for the shore, because here he is right in front of me now in the thick weeds. That only took about 30 seconds for that fish to swim into the weeds. That must be their safe house there. Go ahead and get the phone out of my pocket. 7:30. It's been about a half an hour since that first fish. This is the same as the other one now. I've got the fish close here, but it's in thick weeds, and I'm just gonna have to slowly try and maintain my patience and just slowly work him through these weeds without pulling too hard. And when he pulls back, I'm just gonna let him have some line. Not too much though. I thought for sure this fish got off right at the beginning. As soon as I put pressure on him, it was like thud, and it was gone. But it was because that fish just launched directly at me. I just saw a bass or some little fish just like go flying out of the water, like doing a somersault through the water. I can't help but think that that's some kind of a panfish or a bass running away from a pike. I know there's lots of pike in this lake. I got this fish close. See that tail sticking up? Look at that tail sticking up out of the water. He's trying to point his nose down. Maybe this fish is upside down. Just got a huge, yeah, this fish is upside down because he's in the weeds. Okay. Yeah, we got a large clump of weeds coming in with the fish. This is not ideal. This is another big fish and much larger clump of weeds. I'm gonna try and do the same thing, get the fish in the net, not the weeds. Gosh, this is nerve-wracking. Oh, it's a bigger fish too, I think. No. there. I don't want to get out there too deep. I don't want to get out there too deep. Get some weeds off. I don't want to get out there too deep. All right, here he comes. Getting my net. Yes, this fish is in the net. On the plus side, you know, that took a long time. Look at all this. I mean, it took a long time to get that fish through these weeds, and that fish is, by the time they get here close to me, close to the bank, they are really worn out. So I think that helps. They don't have as much gusto to get loose right at the bank like they tend to do. I think this is a little bit bigger fish. $22 pounds, 14 ounces. Yeah, almost 23. Get some light on that fish. Almost 23 pounds in the net. This is a chunky fish. Probably 21, 22, I'll call it. Just track the net weight. I'm so happy. Finally get some big fish. I don't know if, like I was talking about, average size. I don't know. Today, this is average size, right around 20. At least just on the 2 fish that I've caught, average size right around 20. Beast of a fish. I mean, much thicker than the first fish. It's still early. I'm gonna keep fishing. I love how docile these bigger fish usually are. And like I said, he was worn out from fighting through the weeds. He's only out for a minute or two. There you go. See ya. Yeah, I'm building a collection here along the bank. Quite a collection. There are some line bumps happening on the left rod here. Just a little, you know, little bumps like that. It could be nuisance fish, either pecking at the line or at the hook, you know, at the bait itself. Could be a bunch of fish bumping into the line. It could be a 30-pound carp bumping into the line as it's probing around, feeding on the pack bait. It's just, I don't even want to get up. Oh, yes. I got so excited I turned the camera off, thinking I was turning it on. Yeah, as soon as that bump happened, a large fish just jumped out of the water and splashed right on top of where my bait is. That had to be a feeding carp down there. Hopefully he's going back down for more. Yeah. Drop back bite. Drop back bite. Drop back bite. Either drop back bite or he bumped into my line. Oh, it's definitely drop back bite. Yes, fish on. Yes. Wow, I just watched that happen and just watched that those line bumps were definitely a fish feeding on my pack bait, bumping into the line. Fish 3 is on the line, and I'm in for another long fight here to get him through the weeds. I'm not going to talk you through every moment here. I'm going to cut out a bunch of it and bring you back when I get him close here. A giant clump of weeds here. I don't know if the fish is even still on there. I haven't felt any tugs in a while. I got multiple clumps. Not even, I don't think I have a fish anymore here. Oh yes, there is a fish. I see a tail moving in there. Okay. It does, you know, slope down. Not super steep, but this is about as far as I'm about knee deep in the water here. I don't want to get any deeper than that. I don't want to get my whole bottom half wet. Okay, fish and weeds are in the net. Yeah, smaller fish bringing my average down. It's probably 10-12 pound fish. Just as difficult to fight as the larger fish just because of the weed factor. Get some light on that fish. There we go. Yeah, cool. Fish 3. Oh, one of these days I'm gonna fall in. All right, little guy, get bigger. Getting lots of bumps on both lines here over the last few minutes. No telling what it might be. Always nice when it works out that it's a feeding carp, just bumping their tail into the line as they're probing around in that pack bait pile. Uh-oh, there we go. Here's something. Yep, this is something for real. Fish on. Oh yeah, surfaced out there. Just fish swam across my other line and is heading that way. I'm trying to keep the rod tip up out of the water as much as possible, or up away from the water as much as possible, so it'll hopefully collect less weeds as the fish weaves around here in this area. He's going down the bank down there, down along the bank down here towards the boat ramp. Alright, he kind of moved out away from the bank a little bit there. Alright, now he's in the thick weeds here in front of me. You know, the main difference between, there's weeds here and then there's weeds at the house. The main difference is the thick weeds here are only about 10-15 yards out, where they just go out. I don't know how far they go out. I've casted 40 yards last night out there with a sinker, and I was reeling back weeds immediately. So, yeah. Come on, fishy. This is another good fish. Bigger than the last one for sure. Get in here. Yeah, he swam right in the net. Jumped right into the net. Yeah, there's a fish in there somewhere. Yeah, that's a real good fish. I'd say this one's in the upper teens. Get a little weight here. Right around 17 in the net. 17 pounds, 10 ounces. Another chunky fish. What is this, fish 4? Ends up probably being about a 17 pound fish. It's a pretty great morning of fishing here. It's unfortunate that I have to be fishing at this public spot. I'm sure it's going to get busier. It's about almost 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's, as you can see, the sun's shining. It's going to be a nice day. This is going to be a busy place here pretty soon. But I'm glad to get a few fish on the bank before it happens. I think that's going to be it for today. This trip definitely goes in the win some, learn some philosophy. It definitely goes in the learn some category. I learned a lot of things here about this place, where not to stay. I learned that this lake has pretty significant potential for carp. If there are 20+ pound fish in here, there are probably 30-pound fish. Oh, my other line's going off. All right, get out of here. Okay. No. Please tell me that fish just turned around. It didn't just turn around, it got off. Well, I was just gonna probably leave, but I was talking about how this place is gonna get busy. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know that for sure. It's just, it's not right now. So with what just happened just now, I think I'm gonna put baits back out for at least a little while longer. Yep, that's real. That's something real. Yep, fish on. Fish on. All right. fish is coming right in. He's coming right in. That's a little... Oh, he's coming right in. Now he's heading down. He's onto the boat ramp and I'm going right in. Oh. Alright. This fish is firmly seated in the weeds right here. I caught a glimpse of whatever this is just a second ago and it didn't look like a carp. I wonder if I got a pike. Oh, no. It is a carp. Okay, I see it. He's playing tricks on me. This carp has surprisingly little weeds. Hurry up and net him if I can before he gets more weeds. He hasn't been on the line very long. He's probably not very tired yet. This area just immediately in front of me here is relatively clear because I've hooked most of the weeds already through catching these fish this morning. Yes. Yeah, another really nice fish. I'm not going to put a scale on this fish. 14, 15, be my guess. Low teens, maybe 13, I don't know. It's a great day. I guess I started out the day with I just want one fish. And now I'm kind of in the mentality I just want one more 20 plus fish. I don't know if that wish is going to come true, but I'll keep catching these all day or all morning. As long as I feel like fishing, I'm going to keep fishing. So back in the water. See ya. Look at that mountain of stuff that I've collected this morning. I'm really liking these sweet potato chunks. I mean, they're not as durable as a tiger nut, for sure, but they're plenty durable. And catch fish, obviously. The orange color is kind of neat. Like I said, I added some salt to them, put some salt on them, just for just more attraction and I don't know, just toughen them up a little bit. I don't know if it did or not, but it's working. Yep. Fish on. Been getting line bumps for a few minutes on this one. The fish finally got restless and ran. Oh, this is a good fish. Into the water I go. I can put down here. As per the usual, the fish is in the weeds, and I'll cut out most of the slow process of getting them in here. Hopefully I do get them in here. Oh, my other line just went slack. My other line is slack. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. If it starts running, then maybe I'll do something about it. As you can see, I've got a large clump of weeds on my line here, but then the fish is still another 10 feet down the line. Gotta resist the urge to shake the line, get those weeds off of there. I might have to, I don't know, once those weeds get to the rod tip, that might be a problem. Yeah, those weeds are at the rod tip and I can't reel anymore. Get off of there. Is the fish still here? I can't tell. Yes, there's a fish in those weeds. Come on. Okay. you? You're in there somewhere. There he is. Uh-oh. Yeah, that other line's starting to go now. That other line is starting to go now. Yeah, another very respectable fish. Probably low teens, 12, 13 pound fish. There's a fish on that other line. Let's go look at it. This fish goes bye-bye. Let's see what's going on here. Something was pulling drag while I was landing that other fish. Yeah, there's definitely a fish on this one. Pretty great, pretty great. I'm gonna stay up here for a few minutes, not get in the water quite yet. Feels like my feet are getting a little pruny. The last couple minutes here, I haven't felt anything from the fish. Not even sure that I still have the fish, but I'm towing in a large amount of weeds. Please tell me there's a fish in there. Yes, there's definitely a fish in there. Something just pulled back. I can't even see if there's, something's pulling, but I've yet to. Oh, the fish is way out there. Okay. I'm looking at the big ball of weeds here that I've got, but the fish is a good 10 feet beyond that out there. I just can't do anything with this fish with these giant clump of weeds here. Okay, got most of them off the line. Got him. Yeah, another nice little fish. This is about a 10-pound fish. It's getting late in the morning, and as I'm sure you can probably hear in the background, there's some activity picking up here at this public area. And I'm gonna call it, learned a lot from this lake. Definitely gonna be back, but definitely gonna do it different next time. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. See you on the next one.